First of all أنا أحب أرحب بحضراتكم جميعا. إحنا النهاردة في ويبينار باسم عالم البرايفت ليبل، العلامات التجارية الخاصة. وإحنا الحقيقة كان الهدف من إن إحنا بنشير معاكم العالم ده أو شكله عامل إزاي علشان نفهمه كمصدرين وكناس عايزين نبتدي تصدير للريتيل ستورز أو السوبر ماركتس أو لو كان الدراج ستورز في العالم كله. هي الترند بدأ يزيد بطريقة كبيرة جدا الفترة الأخيرة، وبدأ كتير قوي من السوبر ماركتس حتى هنا في مصر بنلاقي إن كتير من السوبر ماركتس بيختاروا الطريقة دي، وبدأت البرودكتس بينزلوها باسمهم زي كارفور، زي كل التشينز التانية. فبالتالي احنا عايزين نفهم العالم ده عامل ازاي. ده حاجه مبتديه بقالها سنين طويله جدا، البرايفت ليبل مش حاجه جديده. however بالنسبه لنا احنا كمصريين، احنا لما بنتعامل مع شركات مصدره بيبقوا حابين قوي ان هم يبقوا محتفظين بالبراند بتاعتهم، طبعا عشان ده البيبي بتاعهم. لكن في نفس الوقت يعني في طرق ماركت انتري لو عرفنا ان احنا ندخلها هنقدر نزود صادراتنا ونقدر نزود صناعتنا وتبقى حاجه برضو مفيده للجميع. خلوني انتروديوس الناس اللي موجوده معانا مستر يان فان لير، هو الدايركتور بتاع PLMA انترناشونال. PLMA انترناشونال هو نقول زي الفرع او الجزء اللي موجود في هولندا من البرايفت ليبل مانيفاكتشررز اسوسيشن، هو هيكلمنا اكتر عنها. معانا كمان الاستاذ عمرو المنياوي، هو مصنع مينلي للبرايفت ليبل، فهو يعتبر كسكسس ستوري. معانا برضو الدكتور محمد عبد العزيز، وهو برضو سكسس ستوري في شغل البرايفت ليبل. طبعا معانا الاستاذه مي خيري مشرفانا، هي برضو الاكزيكتيف دايركتور بتاعه المجلس التصديري للصناعات الغذائيه. وان شاء الله تكون ايفنت مفيد للجميع. احنا كل اللي بنحاول نعمله ان احنا يعني بنفتح افاق جديده وبنعرف العالم بره شغال ازاي، ايه الترندز اللي موجوده بره. ودي حاجه مهمه جدا علشان ما يبقاش هدفنا بس ان احنا نصدر ونزق البرودكتس بتاعتنا، لا، في ناس عملوا الشغل بطريقه مختلفه، فبرضه ده لازم نبقى فاهمينه ونتعرف عليه الدنيا ماشيه ازاي. May, اتفضلي if you want to introduce something or an idea or welcome the guests. اتفضلي.
أنا هتكلم بالعربي. سوري I will speak.
اتفضلي
طبعا. بحب طبعا أشكر أستاذة رانيا على إنها نظمت النهارده اللقاء ده، وبرضو أحب أشكر أستاذ عمرو CEO بشركة ناتورا أجرو تريد، من أهم الشركات اللي بتشتغل في مجال البرايفت ليبل، وطبعا it is a success story، ونحب طبعا إنه الشركات التانية تستفيد. وبرحب طبعا دكتور محمد والسادة الحضور. وإحنا طبعا دي شايفين إنها فرصة كويسة جدا إنه الشركات تهتم بالمجال ده وتعرف انه ده من يعني مجال مهم جدا، حتى لو هم مش نازلين بالعلامات التجاريه بتاعتهم، بس ده برضو جزء مهم جدا من صادراتنا. و يعني بنشجع الشركات انها تشتغل في البرايفت ليبل، واحنا اوريدي عندنا شركات بتشارك في المعرض PLMA كل سنه، وبنقبل انه العدد ده يزداد. وفي سكسس ستوريز طبعا كتير، فان شاء الله جايز في مرات تانية نبقى نشوف برضو السكسس ستوريز في منتجات مختلفة. والمجلس تحت امركم في اي خدمات احنا بنقدمها. وشكرا يا رانيا تاني، واسيب بقى الناس التانية اتفضلوا عشان عارفه ان احنا عندنا وقت محدود. شكرا.
ميرسي ليكي. ميرسي يا مي. احنا دلوقتي هنبتدي مع مستر يان فان لير، نفهم هو يعني ايه عالم البرايفت ليبل، ونبص اللي هم باصين له ازاي بره، ونفهم بره عايز مننا ايه، وازاي ممكن نجراب الاوبورتيونيتيز اللي موجوده بره. طبعا اقصد الاكسبورت ماركتس، سواء في اوروبا، الدول العربيه برضو فيها بارتيسيبيشن وده هنشوفه، وامريكا اللي مبتدي فيها اصلا موضوع البرايفت PLMA. فخلينا نشوف كده. Mr. Yan, you're welcome and thank you very much for being with us today. It's our pleasure. And thank you for allowing us to have this discussion with you. I know that you have a presentation to share with the audience, so please be allowed to share it.
Okay. I'm not able to share yet.
I will do it from my side.
You will do it from your side, that's fine.
If you allow me.
Yes.
Here it is. So the world of private label, can you please define it? And I will briefly translate to the audience who are not able to follow up in English what you're saying. So please allow me to do this with you.
Yes, not a problem.
Okay.
I've kept my presentation, as you can see, short and to the point, because there will be other presentations as well. The first slide talks about private label, because we have to assume that not everybody knows what private label is. So what we need is a definition. And a private label product is basically a product that is manufactured by a third-party company and sold under a retailer's own brand name. They're also known as store brands, private brands, or supermarket brands.
البرايفت ليبل العلامات التجاريه الخاصه هي بيبقى منتج بنصنعه احنا كمصنعين عادي جدا، بس بيصنع باسم السوبر ماركت او الستور براند او الريتيل تشين براند او الدراج ستور اللي هي بيبيع برضو الحاجات اللي هي زي بوتس، زي الحاجات الصحيه. فده يعني البرايفت ليبل في مجال الكونتكست اللي احنا بنتكلم فيه. Please.
Unlike with A brands, where the retailer simply buys a product and puts it on the shelf, with private label, the retailer specifies all of the product requirements, composition of the product, the packaging of the product, the label of the product, all of that.
في مجال البرايفت ليبل لما بيبقى الاي كلاس براندز او الحاجه اللي اوريدي براندد من باسم مصانع حضراتكم، بياخدها زي ما هي الباير كده وبيحطها على الشلف معظم الوقت. لكن في حته البرايفت ليبل طبعا الباير بيجي بالكومبوزيشن بتاعه، بالبرودكت بتاعه، عايز سبيسيفيكيشنز بتاعته تبقى شكلها ازاي، الباكجينج، البراند نيم، الليبل، وكل حاجه بتبقى بتتقال لحضراتكم من الباير اللي هي السوبر ماركت تشين. Can you please continue?
The manufacturer supplies the retailer with products that the manufacturer knows how to make. The retailer tells the manufacturer what specifications the product needs to have, because the retailer knows how to sell the product.
هي الفايدة الحقيقة بتاعت البرايفت ليبل اللي بيلجأ ليها small and medium enterprises عموما، هي ان بيبقى فيه هما الريتيلرز اوريدي البراند بتاعهم بره. يعني كسوبر ماركت تشين في اي بلد معينه، لو قلنا مثلا هنا اولاد رجب او مترو، الحاجات دي كلها اوريدي عندها البراند بتاعها وكواليتي بيرسبشن معين او بوزيشننج معين في ذهن المشتري. فبره كمان يعني بيستخدموا الحته دي ان احنا الشركات تدخل الاسواق الخارجيه عشان يستعملوا البراند اللي معروف في هذه البلد اوريدي، بقاله سنين فاتح ريتيل تشينز كتيره جدا، ريتيل ستورز كتيره جدا، فبيبتدوا يدخلوا هذه الاسواق بالبراندز دي، فبيسهلوا على نفسهم حته البراندنج وحته ان هم يعني يصرفوا على البراندنج والناس تعرف منتجهم ويترست ويعرفوا يشتروه من على الشلف. So shall we go? So what is PLMA? Tell us more about what is PLMA, your association.
PLMA is short for the Private Label Manufacturers Association. The organization was founded in 1979 in the US by a group of companies that at the time was producing what were called generic brands, very basic products in very basic packaging, and they saw that there was a future for those products. Mm-hmm. So they founded the Private Label Manufacturers Association. They also founded Private Label Magazine at the same time.
Okay, can we continue?
Yes.
When it moved to Amsterdam? When did it move to Amsterdam?
Well, executive offices of PLMA are in New York, and we have an international council office in Amsterdam. So in 1997, PLMA was founded. In 1986, the international office in Amsterdam was opened, And in 1986, the very first international trade show was also organized in Paris. At the moment, and I would like to make one comment, the numbers are pre-COVID. There's pre-COVID, there will be post-COVID. So we have to look at those numbers, and we'll hopefully get back to that once the current crisis is over. But we're looking at a total of 4,500 member manufacturers from over 70 countries. PLMA has a mission to promote private label as a business model, and especially as an export opportunity for small and medium enterprises. And we do that by organizing trade shows, conferences, market research, education programs. And obviously these days we do much of that online.
Yes, definitely. So بدايتهم طبعا كانت في سنة 79 في نيويورك، و86 بدأوا في أمستردام، وكان في 86 برضو أول شو. مش كده بقول لكم الموضوع مش جديد، هو قديم. من 86 وهم موجودين في باريس، وبعد كده اتنقل إلى أمستردام، بقي موجود التريد شو في أمستردام. يعني البرايفت الاسوشيشن فيها 4500 ممبرز مصنعين، والارقام دي كانت قبل الكوفيد 19. هوبفلي واضح ان حصل نزول في هذه الارقام شويه حاليا، فهوبفلي بعد يعني بعد الكوفيد ما يخلص ان شاء الله الارقام ترجع الى ما كانت عليه قبل كده. هم بيعملوا ايه؟ هم عايزين الميشن بتاعت PLMA ان هم يبروموت البرايفت ليبل، يروجوا لفكره البرايفت ليبل as a business model، وكفرص تصديريه كمان للسمول اند ميديوم انتربرايزز. كمان الشركات الصغيره والمتوسطه برضو تنتهج هذا النهج في ان هم يبتدوا يزودوا صادراتهم. طيب البي ال ام اي بيستعملوا عندهم ايه تولز بيدوها لنا علشان، او بيدوها للمانيفاكتشرز عشان يستفيدوا من فكره الاسوشيشن. عندهم المعارض بتاعتهم، في واحد في امريكا وفي واحد في امستردام. عندهم كمان بيعملوا كتير كونفرنسز وميتينجز، وبيعملوا ماركت ريسيرش، وعندهم باستمرار في فيديو بيتباع تقريبا كل شهر، بيبقى فيه انفورميشن عن السوق ده عامل ازاي، ايه اللي طالع ايه اللي نازل فيه. طبعا الفيديوز دي بتوصل للاسوشيشن ممبرز، وبيعملوا كمان كورسات بتقرب ما بين المانيفاكتشرز وما بين البايرز بتوع البرايفت ليبل. So this is an idea, a general idea.
Yes, this gives an impression on the private label volume share in a number of countries in Europe. The numbers are taken from PLMA's private label yearbook over the year 2019. And as you can see, there is quite some difference from country to country. Switzerland is currently leading the charge with almost 50% of private label volume share. That means that in Swiss supermarkets, 1 out of every 2 products is a private label product. Spain, United Kingdom are very close, but also the other countries are basically showing increase from year to year, some more than others, but there are very few countries where the number does not increase. Very peculiar country in this list is Italy.
Yes.
Italy is the lowest in terms of private label volume share in the supermarkets, but Italian companies are the largest group in PLMA's member and exhibitor base. And that indicates very clearly why private label is such a great opportunity for exporting. So Italian companies obviously also produce for Italian retailers, but they very much produce for retailers in other countries. And that is something that we see a lot in our member base. We have companies that have their own brands in their own national markets, but that produce for private label purposes for retailers in other countries. And by doing that, they are able to maximize their production capacity.
So let me translate please. المجموعة الدول دي هي الدول اللي في أوروبا ونسب البرايفت ليبل اللي موجودة على الشلف عندهم، بمعنى إن أعلى واحدة فيهم هي سويسرلاند. 50% من المنتجات اللي موجودة على أرفف الريتيل هناك معمولة برايفت ليبل باسم هذا الريتيل ستور. نفس الحكايه 50% تقريبا في اسبانيا، 46 او 47% في يونايتد كينجدم، وهكذا. وبعدين تطرق الى ان ايطاليا 22% بس من المنتجات اللي موجوده عندها معموله بالبرايفت ليبل، رغم ان لما بنروح البي ال ام اي او عموما الطلاينه بنلاقيهم كلهم شركات صغيره وكلهم هم مصنعين، بس لان هم في اللوكال ماركت فالبراندز بتاعتهم معروفه عندهم في اللوكال ماركت وبيستعملوها كما هي او بيشتغلوا شويه منها برايفت ليبل، لكن في التصدير بيصنعوا كتير جدا للشركات مثلا او الريتيل السويسريين والاسبان وكده باسامي الريتيل ستورز بتاعتهم. وده ان دل على شيء فيدل على ان ايطاليا وشركاتها المصنعه، وده الحقيقه شفناه كتير جدا لعدد المشاركين اكبر ناس هم الطلاينه، ان دي is a very successful market entry strategy للاس ام ايز، للمصنعين الصغار والمتوسطين في الدخول للدول الاوروبيه وزياده صادراتهم. About the representation of the Arab world and of Egypt and the Middle East, can you please tell us more about this?
Yes. Again, as I said, the numbers are pre-COVID, so the best comparison that we have is our World of Private Label trade show of the year 2019. And that year we had 160 member exhibitors participating from the Arab world and Middle East. Oh, we lost the slide.
Let me try again. Sorry.
There we go. 9 of which were from Egypt. You can see the names, food companies and the non-food companies. Food companies were also there because of support of the Food Export Council. The non-food companies are mostly companies that have been exhibiting in our show for several years in a row. Not that many companies from Egypt, as you can see, but that is something that could probably change. And I think in that respect, it's also good to make the comparison again to Italy, where private label in the stores is relatively low in percentage, but where presence from Italian companies is very high because they manufacture mostly for export.
بالنسبة للشركات من الدول العربية، في 160 شركة من الدول العربية من مختلف الدول العربية. احنا الحقيقة لما بنروح بيبقى في بوث بتاعت الإمارات، بيبقى في الكويت، وكمان السنة اللي فاتت كان في البوث بتاع مصر، طبعا اتعمل بمساعدة المجلس التصديري الصناعات الغذائية، وكان في حوالي 5 أو 6 شركات موجودين هناك. وفي النون فود دايما بيروحوا يعني بيبقوا بقالهم مثلا سيسك وفارما بلاست بقالهم سنين بيعرضوا نفسهم، والهلال والنجمة كمان. فإن شاء الله يعني هم عارفين طبعا أهمية البرايفت ليبل كماركت انتري، وشغالين كتير قوي على الحكاية دي. ف يعني this is السلايد دي اتكلمت عن كده. Okay, this is the end of the slideshow that you have prepared, and let me now stop sharing this and go to questions that we need also to ask you.
Sure.
Can you tell us some names of the private label adopters, like the private labelers, the supermarkets that are within your group, just for the companies here to have an idea about who is the buyer?
It would be an endless list, because there are hardly any supermarkets in at least in Europe and US that do not have private label. It's just the extent to which they have private label that differs. So, a few famous names could be Sainsbury in the UK, could be Carrefour in France, could be Delhaize in Belgium, could be Ahold in the Netherlands, could be Edeka in Germany. I heard you say Metro before, obviously those as well. Again, there isn't any retailer and wholesaler in Europe and the US that does not have private label products. There's just a difference from retailer to retailer. Some will have 20%, others will have 50%. There are also retailers, there's one retailer in the Netherlands that's 100% private label. They only have private label products. And what one finds in general is that, and it's specific usually to one country, it doesn't expand internationally, but if one retailer in a country starts increasing their private label range, the other retailers follow. Yes. Because that's what competition is all about.
Yes, exactly. And can you please tell us like an idea about what are the products that could be private labeled in supermarkets, things that you know of that differs of course from a country to another, but in general, give us an idea about what are the products.
There's basically no limit to what can be a private label product. What we generally say for companies participating in our programs, anything you can buy in a supermarket, anything you can buy in a hypermarket, anything you can buy in a drugstore. Technically, private label also applies to clothing, but that's something that we typically do not find in our shows. Mm-hmm. It also applies to DIY products. We have a limited extent of that. Most of our products and most of our exhibitors and visitors are from supermarkets, hypermarkets, and drugstores. So, you know, shampoo, toothpaste, loofah, any kind of food you can think of, anything that anybody buys in the supermarket.
اوكي انا سالت عن حاجتين، سالت عن مين البرايفت ليبل بايرز اللي بيبقوا موجودين عموما عندهم في الاسوشيشن، فهو قال لي بتبقى او بتروح التريد شوز بتاعتهم. في عندنا كارفور، في سينسبري، في اهولد، في كل البرايفت ليبلز. حتى لما احنا بنروح هناك او لما بنشوف الباير ليست بتاعتهم بيبقى فيه من كل الدول، especially PLMA International. يعني بتاع امريكا بيخدم اكتر امريكا نفسها، لكن PLMA International بيبقى فيه بايرز بيجوا حتى من دول عربيه. افريقيا بيبقى فيه بايرز بيجوا من افريقيا، بيبقى فيه بايرز طبعا بيجوا من اوروبا، من روسيا كتير جدا بيبقوا موجودين هناك. فبالتالي يعني نيمت يعني كل الناس اللي شغالين عنده سوبر ماركت او هايبر ماركت او دراج ستور اللي هي بتبيع زي قلنا بوتس والحاجات السيف ستورز والحاجات دي، يقدروا الحاجه اللي موجوده عندهم، سواء اذا كانت بقى المنتجات اللي موجوده سواء فود او نون فود، للمثلا هيلث اند بيوتي، للبيت زي الهلال والنجمه، للديترجنتس، للديترجنتس بتاعت البيت، والاكل. even the pet food is also there. الاكل بتاع الكلاب والقطط، and I think there is an increase in the pet food also sales on private label. الاكل الفريش والفروزن والcanned as well. والpackaging material, we have seen a lot of people of companies manufacturing packaging, recyclable packaging or reusable packaging material. So this is also something الناس بتوع الباكجينج كمان are welcome في الاسوشيشن دي، لانها في الاخر كلها بتخدم البرايفت ليبل كونسبت، وفي الاخر بتدي برودكت للباير بتاعك that is a product بيبقى في الاخر بياخده باسمه بيحطه على الشلف على طول. So next question would be, what are the purchasing trends that you can monitor in the field of private label in general, and after the COVID, what has increased and what has changed?
Yeah. I would still like to take one step back to the previous question, and that is to stress that for the retailer, there's nothing more important than selling their private label products. So what you typically find in a supermarket when you walk in is that the private label products are on eye level. Those are the products that you see first. And until you get involved in private label, you don't realize that. The moment you get involved, you walk into a supermarket and you suddenly realize private label products are there. That's because the margins on private label products for retailers are more interesting than the margins on A brands. And so they want to sell those more than anything else.
So let me also translate this very important part. هو كمان بيقول ان لما بتدخل عند السوبر ماركتس بره بتلاقي ان هم يعني they promote او بيزقوا المبيعات بتاعه البرايفت ليبل بتاعهم اكتر من مبيعات البراندز الثانيه. يعني ما فيش حاجه عنده اهم من ان هو يبيع البرايفت ليبل بتاعه، فبيشتغل على البراندنج بتاعه، بيشتغل على الاويرنس بتاعته، بيشتغل عن creating the trust and the quality مع البايرز والكلام ده كله، لان المكسب بتاعه في شغل البرايفت ليبل طبعا بيبقى اعلى كتير. وكمان البايرز، انا برضو هضيف حته لاني كنت عملت ريسيرش في المجال ده، البايرز كمان دلوقتي اوقات الريسيشنز بيبقوا محتاجين حاجه that they can trust، وفي نفس الوقت تبقى كواليتي كويسه والسعر كويس. اللي بيقدر يقدموا حاجه زي كده هم البرايفت ليبل retailers. Excellent. So shall we move to the trends question, or would you like to add anything else?
No, the trends are actually the one thing that I can add to the trends is that the private label product being the most important product to the retailer, quality of that product is also very important. In the 1970s and earlier, quality was less important, and private label for many years has been seen as just a cheap alternative, but that's no longer true. Retailers want to provide their customers, their shoppers with value for money, and so quality is very important to retailers. The shopping trends at the moment, due to COVID, are obviously online, but that's something that had been going on already, and it's also a relatively temporary development. Once we go back to a normal situation, that will probably diminish. Within the online shopping trend, what we see are the needs for premium products, and that goes back to the quality that I just mentioned, healthy products, convenience, sustainability, you mentioned it before, transparency is also very important, and retailers need to go along with all those trends. They are often also the ones that start trends. In the old days, private label followed what the A brands did, but more and more retailers are setting the trends that the A brands do not have yet, because the retailers are more flexible with their private label products than A brand manufacturers are with theirs.
حاجه من الحاجات اللي هم لاحظوها كترندز بعد الكوفيد طبعا الاونلاين سيلينج، بس كانوا بيلاقوا ان الحاجات البريميوم كواليتي والهيلثي فود اند هيلثي برودكتس دي كان بيبقى اكتر حاجه عليها ديماند دلوقتي. وكمان الحاجه اللي هي فيها sustainability، فيها الباكجينج اللي بيتعمل biodegradable، فيها sustainability، بيبقى فيه يعني products eco مثلا friendly products وحاجات زي كده بتبقى عليها demand اكبر. فبقي اصبح الوعي بتاع الباير بره اكتر كتير من هو بيشتري ايه ومسؤوليته ناحيه الشراء زادت شويتين بعد الكوفيد عن ما قبل الكوفيد. But let me ask you a question also. Among the products itself, okay, we have spotted some trends, like general trends in terms of sustainability and packaging and online. But what other trends in the product purchases? For example, you were talking about convenience. Can you please elaborate more on what type of products in itself? For food, do they buy more of the detergents? Do they buy which product types are they selecting over the others? Can you please talk to us more about this?
Of course. Also there, it's hard to give one general trend because developments are different from country to country. But specifically, if we look at convenience and we tie that in with healthy, what we find more and more here in Europe are the ready-made packages for meal preparation. So instead of going to the grocer and getting your own vegetables and adding your own meat to it and your own things, you buy a ready-made package which contains all of the ingredients, the vegetables, the meat, everything you need to make a meal at home. Because people spend less and less time on cooking. And so the retailers are tapping into that need by providing solutions which are not only quicker, but also healthy, vegetables instead of dry foods from packages, and at the same time providing a high level of convenience.
But let me ask you a question concerning the convenient ready-made meals. Are you talking about dried ones? I always feel this is, if it's like fresh, it would not, of course, be exported easily from Egypt, maybe by airplanes or something, but I don't know how how price is going to be competitive. But how do you see things? Would it be the dried or what?
Well, that's a difference. Obviously, fresh produce is less easily exported than dry goods. But you know, you have export and export. There is export to the other side of the world. There is export to the neighboring country. So it all depends on the needs in a specific country and the processing possibilities within another country. I took a look at the number of retailers from Egypt that attended our show in 2019, and they were less than a handful. So clearly in Egypt, private label in the stores is still something that needs development. That will probably develop because there's not a country in the world where we don't see private label growing, but also there, you know, the growth pace is different from country to country. So then, you know, if you want to sell your product and you keep export in mind, you'll have to look at the best options to, you know, to export your product to. And if you have fresh produce, sooner than exporting those to Europe, you know, you may be looking at exporting those to countries in your own region, because obviously that makes transportation and everything much easier.
So we have a question from Ms. May Khairi from the Food Export Council. Can you please, and we will go to the attendees' questions later on, but maybe he wants to say something as a panelist.
Yeah, just a more general question concerning food products. Would you be able to tell us which country delivers more products of private label? Can you tell us, for example, countries or well, number 1 or 2 or 3? Can you please?
I'm afraid the connection was interrupted, so I only got half of the question.
Can you please repeat the question, Yamai?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. I would in the food sector, I would like to know which countries are delivering the majority of private label products for food. I mean, if Egypt is number 10 or 12 or 50, so who are the top 3, 4, 5 or so? Do you have this data?
That's a good question. I don't have the full list in my head. What I can tell you, and that is not specific to private label, but it's specific to, in general, that the Netherlands, as small as the country is the world's 2nd largest food exporter. Number 1 food exporter worldwide is the US, and the Netherlands are number 2. So we have to assume that that also applies to private label. My expectation will be that after the Netherlands, at least within Europe, Germany will be the 2nd largest importer. I've been told on several occasions by German members that 60% of all the cheese sold in the Netherlands as private label cheese is actually made in Germany. And then we're probably looking at Italy as a runner-up, and maybe combining with France. Again, you know, the numbers are in proportion to the sizes of the country. You wouldn't expect anything different. The only one that is different is the Netherlands, because it is a tiny country, but we have a very dense infrastructure of growing food in hothouses. So that's a separate thing. The size of the country usually gives you an indication on the size of the export market. But the Germany example I just gave about cheese, and I have to admit, the gentleman that first told me was smiling as he told me, and he said, "Do you realize that 60% of Gouda cheese in Dutch supermarkets is actually made in Germany?" And I believed him. I didn't know that, but it's indicative of how private label is used for exporting.
Yeah. And also it differs from one product to another. I also have the list of the private label yearbook in front of me, and it says that dairy is one of the most used dairy products, one of the most used in private label, and there is also the dried grocery. The frozen is also very big in this. I don't have percentages because I have it per country, so the numbers, I don't have something that is collective, but it's dairy, dry grocery, frozen, health and beauty and personal care products are also among the very famous ones. The household products, that is the paper and maybe packaging, maybe cooking material, things like this are also big. And the non-alcoholic beverages. These are the major, the biggest in volumes that we have seen in the European countries as private label.
Yes, and those are basically the daily products, the products that any family needs on a daily basis. And what you see is that many consumers do not even realize that the products that they are buying are private label products, because they always shop at one specific supermarket. They find a product there with a brand name that, you know, they like the product, they like the pricing, they try it, they like the quality. And so they'll start buying other products within that same brand range as well. Until they go to a different supermarket and try to find the same product, they will not realize that what they were buying in their traditional supermarket is actually a private label product.
Exactly. So moving to the next question, who can join your association and what are the benefits that you're offering them? Can you also elaborate on this a little bit? Yeah. So are they traders? Are they manufacturers? What exactly? What is the usual percentages? And a lot of people are also asking about what are the certificates of the food products or the essential oils. And I believe this also is per retail store. They have their own requirements of sustainability and of certification and of quality and these things. But can you tell us who can join your typically join your association and what are the benefits?
Yeah, well, the association is called the Private Label Manufacturers Association. So as the name already indicates, a company has to be a manufacturer of products that are sold to supermarkets and hypermarkets and drugstores as a private label product. We make an exception for those companies that are not active in private label production yet, but want to become active in it. So if they want to test the waters. What we, for instance, saw happening after the economic crisis in 2008 is that we received a lot of requests from companies that so far had not been producing for private label, but given the circumstances, wanted to give that a try. The main advantage of becoming a member of PLMA is that you are able to exhibit in our events, and through exhibiting, you are able to meet private label buyers. Our members are manufacturers. The people that visit our events are retailers, wholesalers, drugstores, buyers that come to our events to find manufacturers to produce for their private label ranges. And if we look at what we combine between the international show and the US show, we're looking at nearly 2,000 retail companies.
2,000 retail companies go in both shows.
Yes.
Okay. We haven't.
And those are companies from more than 100 countries.
We haven't spoken much about the US show, but talking about it, it's more or less the same as the PLMA International, the same concept, and it has the same product categories, things like this.
Yes, it's the same concept. It's held half a year later. The international show is typically in May. The US show is typically in November. It's the audience that's different. The US show is aimed at especially the North American audience from Canada to the US. It also has Central America and South America, whereas the international show is Europe, Asia, Middle East, North of Africa, the region, if you want to call it that.
Okay. So finally, can we ask for an advice from you to the new entrants in the private label field? What's your advice for SMEs from what you have experienced from all over the world throughout the years? So what would be your advice?
Yes. Well, my advice would be to first realize that private label is not something you just give a try. You have to be ready to go in for the long run. It's a long-term development, and so you have to prepare well. What I usually recommend to people that are interested is to first come and visit one of our events, to get a feel of what it is like, to see what kind of products are exhibited. You want to go look at the companies that make the same kind of products that you do. You want to see how they present their products. If you feel like it, you talk to them, or you look for companies from your own country and talk to them, even if they do different products, but ask for their experience. And that helps you in getting an idea of the possibilities. Once you decide that you want to go in private label manufacturing, then you also have to be ready to go in for the long-term investment. And obviously, as a company, you need to be ready to supply supermarkets, and you have to keep in mind that supermarkets are very demanding in terms of quality. You mentioned certification before, because eventually what's going to be on the shelf is not a bottle made by Coca-Cola, but it's a bottle with a cola in it that has the supermarket's brand to it. So anything wrong with that bottle of private label cola will have an effect directly on the supermarket, not on the manufacturer. You do your research, and once you are ready to give it a try, that's when I suggest you come to one of the PLMA events. There are several other trade shows out there that also now have private label as something that you can indicate. We do this, we do that, we do sustainable, and we also do private label. But the PLMA shows are the only ones that are 100% private label. And that's why we attract so many buyers, so many retail and wholesale buyers, because they're just focused on private label. That's what they come to our events for. And then you have your first participation. You try to make the best of it. And you have to understand that your first participation is never going to be fully satisfying. You need at least a second participation. So what we typically see from every event that we hold is that new companies register for the next edition between 40 and 50% of them. Once a company has registered for the second edition, we're looking at 90 to 95% renewal for the editions afterwards. So the first year is the hardest year. You have to do your homework very well. You have to do a lot of promotion before the event, during the event, after the event. But once you make it into the second year and you can go back to your clients and to the ones that you've met, saying that you will be at the show again, that's when usually things start getting interesting.
Okay, let me also, those ideas are very interesting for our company, so please allow me to translate them. أنا سألته سؤالي كان إيه الأدفايسز بتاعتك؟ بتقول للشركات إيه علشان يبتدوا يشتغلوا في البرايفت ليبل فيلد. هو قال أول حاجة إن لازم تعرف كويس جدا إنها مش حاجة هنجربها وهنمشي، ده عايز ديديكيشن. اللي داخل المجال بتاع البرايفت ليبل لازم يكون عارف إن ده هيعمل investments، ودي طريقة، دي استراتيجية هيمشي عليها لفترة طويلة، فبالتالي هي مش هيبقى hit and run business، مش هيبقى حاجة كده يعملها مرة وبعدين يجربها ما نفعتش، لأنها غالبا من أول مرة زي ما هنقول إنها مش هتنفع. بيقول لو أخدت الاستراتيجية دي وعملت الريسيرش بتاعك والريسيرش بتاعك كويس، تقدر بعد كده وأخدت قرار إن خلينا نروح الشو as visitors، إن إحنا نروح نتفرج هو في إيه موجود هناك، خلينا نتفرج هل ده مناسب لينا ولا لأ، هل الناس اللي موجودة دي شبهنا ولا لأ، نقدر نبقى زيهم ولا لأ، دي كلها حاجات، وده الحقيقه الفيدباك اللي جالنا السنه اللي فاتت من البارتيسيبنتس، كلهم قالوا احنا حاسين ان في حاجه كبيره حاصله، بس احنا يعني ما كناش مستعدين بالدرجه الكافيه، لان هناك بيبقى الشو موجود لمده يومين، فلازم في اليومين دول نبقى جاهزين كويس قوي. ودي حاجه من اللي هو الحاجات اللي هو قالها، لازم تعمل بروموشن كويس قوي ما قبل الشو. والحقيقه بيدوا لست بالبايرز اللي جايين اللي ريجسترد على الشو من كل انحاء العالم، فالليسته دي بتبقى موجوده مع حضرتك قبلها بتقريبا شهر. لو عرفت تعمل قبلها تعزمهم طبعا على الشو بتاعهم during the show، هو بيبقى يومين 2 بس، فبيبقى كل واحد جاي بلسه الاكزيبيتورز اللي عايز يزورها، يعني بيبقى الوقت قليل، فبالتالي حاول ان انت تكون على الليست بتاعتهم. وكمان افتر ذا شو لو حد جالك او انت قابلت حد هناك، اعمل فولو اب بتاعك بطريقه مناسبه. اول سنه بيقول عاده الناس اللي بيقعدوا اول سنه واحده بس هم اللي بيجوا الشو، وبعدين يلاقوا ان هو مش نافع قوي، نتيجه ان بيبقى البايرز جايين بالاعداد بتاع يعني الميتينجز اللي معموله لهم والكلام ده، ف بيختاروا ان هم ما يجوش مره ثانيه. لكن لما بيجوا مره ثانيه وبيحققوا سكسس، فبيبتدوا بقى 95% منهم بيجوا مره ثانيه وثالثه ورابعه، بيبقى الشو ده بتاعهم. وعندنا اكزامبلز طبعا هنناقشها مع بعض دلوقتي في هذا المجال. اعرف كمان ان الموضوع بتاع البرايفت ليبل محتاج انفستمنت من حضرتك وديديكيشن كبير، لان السوبر ماركت لما بتبقى الحاجه موجوده على الرف باسم المنتج، هو خلاص هو حاططها على الرف باسم المنتج، يعني ملوش سي كتير قوي على البراند، مش هتاثر فيه كتير قوي، هو في الاخر هو المانيفاكتشرر. لكن لما تبقى في السوبر ماركت حاجه باسمه هو ويحصل فيها مشكله بسبب الكواليتي، فهنا بتيجي بالسلب على السوبر ماركت نفسه. فبالتالي لازم تخلي بالك قوي ان هم هيبقوا demanding جدا في الكواليتي، وهيبقوا يعني مهتمين قوي ان الكواليتي ما تبقاش اي حاجه. Thank you very much, Jan, for the informative session that we had with you. It was an eye-opener, I believe, for most of the participants. We still have questions, but we will move now to our success. There is Mr. Mustafa Heikel from CESEC. He's with us. CESEC,
special guest.
Exhibiting since maybe 20 or 25 years in the show. So let's try to find him among the participants. Yes. Did I give the permission in the right way? No. Let me, here's Mr. Mustafa Heikel. He wants to say something, so not yet.
Hello, Jan.
Hello,
Yes.
Mustafa.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you? I don't see you, but you sound well.
I don't know. I don't normally use Zoom. It is the second time for me, but I'm trying to open the camera. But in any case, sorry that I could not open the camera. It was nice to see you again. We didn't have PLMA this year. We hope that next year we can pass COVID. We would like to increase the timing. It's about 1 day and a half. For 1 day and a half to get in Amsterdam, it's important to increase the timing to be 3 days, for example. What do you think about that?
Well, I can confirm that it has also been on our table, actually. Several years ago, I think in 2015 or 16, we've done a survey to all the renewing exhibitors to ask them what they felt about a 3rd day. And at the time, more than half of them said that it was not a good idea. Because, you know, the 2 days were very intense, but that was what the show was all about, and 2 days were fine. But as you know, every year the show is getting busier. We've had a waiting list for many years. Every year we have more visitors. So we started discussing the third day again internally September last year and looking into the options because we felt that with the increasing attendance of the show, the opinion of our exhibitors might have changed over time. Then COVID came along, and obviously, you know, adding a third day right now is on the back burner. It's not off the table, but we have other things to worry about right now. Our first plan is to go back to a regular show, that is to say a 2-day show, but with more space between stands and wider aisles so that we have a COVID-proof setup. But the 3-day show is definitely on our agenda. And as soon as we will be able to go back to some sort of normalcy, we'll be looking into that again. I personally think that it will happen at some point in the coming years, because that's how the show has been developing. The only problem is that we've been, you know, unpleasantly interrupted by the current crisis. And so that has effects that at this point nobody can still foresee.
So Jan, thank you for answering this question, and thank you, Dr. Mustafa, for your putting this question on the table. We currently want to talk to Mr. Amr El-Minyawi and then to Dr. Mohammed Abdelaziz in order to share with us their experience as manufacturers of private label, how did they come to dedicate all their manufacturing or a big percentage of their manufacturing in this. So, Mr. Amr.
Yes, thank you first for this information, and I have a question for Jan as well about how will be the PLMA this year. I heard that it will be like not physically exhibition. It will be you have an. Hello, do you hear me?
Yes, I do. I was waiting for you to answer your question.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, sorry. It's the internet is not good. Mm-hmm. So it will be a virtual exhibition, or what do you think?
Yes. Well, you know, our show was originally supposed to be held in May, and in March we had to postpone it. We postponed it to early December. And as time went along, things were starting to look better. July was still okay, and then August came along, and as August progressed, it was becoming clear that things were going worse. So on September 1st, we made the decision to cancel the Amsterdam show in December, and instead we have set up an online trade show. Now online is obviously limited. Nothing compares to a live trade show, and that's also part of, you know, of our promotional material. Online is the second best thing to exhibiting in Amsterdam. So we've set that up. We have approximately 800 exhibiting companies registered so far. It's in a month from now. It's held from December 1st to 4th. It's divided by categories. And basically what it is the retailer, and we have retailers from more than 80 countries already signed up as well. The retailer will be able to look for products by the usual product search criteria. You look for food, you look for beverages, you break down, you wind up looking for non-alcoholic beverages, and then you get a list of results. So that part is quite standard. When you click on a specific exhibitor of those products, you get to see their online stand. And the online stand holds pictures that the exhibitor can upload, it holds videos that the exhibitor can upload, it holds additional downloads, but it also holds live contact ways. You can send a message to the exhibitor, you can exchange business cards with the exhibitor, but the most important feature is that you can open up a video call with the exhibitor by simply clicking on a button. So every category will be live for 2 full days. So 1 minute after midnight of day 1, all the exhibitors in a specific category will become live. And 1 minute before midnight on the second day, they'll be taken off. and between 9 o'clock in the morning and 6 o'clock in the afternoon in Central European time, exhibitors will be logged on to the show website. And that means that if they are logged on, they're able to receive video calls. So if a retail buyer comes along and finds a product that he or she thinks is interesting, wants to know more about it, click on the video call button, and in a few seconds, they'll be talking live to the exhibitor contact, pretty much the same way we are doing it now. No comparison to a real show. There's no tasting, there's no smelling, there's no holding the product, there's no handshaking, none of that. But given the circumstances, we think this is the best thing that we can do. And we did want to provide all our members with an alternative, because we know that the fact that there are no real trade shows this year is having a serious effect on everybody. So we're very curious to see what this will do. It's new to us as well.
Mr. Amr, you are also a producer of private label, a main producer of private label at Natura. So can you please tell us more about the experience? How did you dedicate your production, most of it, to the private label? How do you find the experience of not selling your brand and things like this? Is it more easier to sell, more attractive? How do you see it, please?
Actually, I would add on Jan what he said. It's the private label. We stopped our brand 3 years ago, and we are serving the private label sector since 2017, late 2017. The private label sector is quite big, and it's growing. And Jan is saying it's one of two on the shelf is a private label, while in the United States, one of 5 or 6 is a private label, and it's increasing. The reputation of the private label also is getting better and better, because usually the private label used to be the cheap product. So I go to the shelf, I buy Coca-Cola because it's a brand, and I don't buy any other brand, any other private label, because it's usually cheaper in price and lower quality. But now maybe 65% of the people believe that purchasing a store brand is more smart decision and a good alternative than a brand, because it's cheaper and the quality standard is now improving. Our experience is quite good, and I would say the same as he said, like you need a big investment, infrastructure, because you will be audited, not only from a third party, but 90% from the quality department from the client. So you need a good infrastructure, a good based quality certificate, not the ISO or this shallow one. So you need a good maybe IFS to speak with a supermarket. You need a social certificate to guarantee that you are treating your laborers, your employee in a good manners, and you are not deploying underages, and it's audited as well by them for wages, how many hours, and it's a lot of details. Also, it needs a company that it will be financially can absorb the payment term of the private label client. Meanwhile, there is always a space, and it's improving, as I told you. Like if you take China as an example, or Thailand, or Vietnam, or maybe the Latin area, Latin America, it's the economy is growing based on the private label sector. I'm not talking about food only. I'm talking about everything, even textile, even electronics. It's growing. It's growing. So the brand owner now they want to release the manufacturer, and he want to outsource it. So I think even the big brand who has factories or who has a plant, I think now they are serving a private label as well, or they are promoting their own private label beside the own brand to compete in the market. So it's a promising business, yet it's still a liability because there is no other stops. You are sending the brand of the supermarket, which is a big liability on the brand of the supermarket. It should be a good quality. It should be up to the standard, up to the specification. One of the problems that will face this sector, I think, is the variation of the quality, or it's not stable yet. So sometimes the consumer, he can find a good quality. Sometimes it's a bad quality because it's variable from different supplier. But again, I think this is the future for the emerging market, and it's a good chance because now in Europe and it's in the United States, in Canada, they are looking for private label suppliers. And I think that COVID-19 as well, it was not a problem for this sector. Maybe it was a problem for the brand, the small brand, or the not financially well-built brand, because of the restriction in the manufacturer and the sanitization and the cost of production. So also still I see a good window for private label within next 3 to 5 years, and it's improving and it's increasing. That's why I think an exhibition like PMLA, it will be well needed. Unfortunately, it will be virtual, but maybe it will be a good chance. And me personally, I will be participating actually.
Please allow me to state briefly what you have mentioned, Mr. عمرو. الأستاذ عمرو كان بيتكلم على قد إيه إن البرايفت ليبل هو شايفه من شغله لفترات طويلة. هو ابتدى الشغل فيه من 2017 وبيشوف إن هو growing سواء في أمريكا أو في أوروبا، والديماند عليه بيبقى عالي قوي. بس هو الفكرة إن هو محتاج dedication ومحتاج الشهادات اللي مطلوبة من الشركات علشان يبروف الكواليتي بتاعها، والكواليتي consistent علشان في الآخر زي ما قلنا المصانع الريتيلرز بيبقوا حاطين البراند بتاعهم، فبالتالي لازم المصنع will be held liable، يعني هيبقى المسؤولية عليه هو لو حاجة حصلت مشكلة فيها في البرودكت اللي محطوط على الشلف بتاع السوبر ماركت ده. فبالتالي هو محتاج شركات تبقى عارفة هي بتصنع ايه كويس، تبقى عندها السيرتيفيكتس اللي بيطلبوها الريتيلرز دول، وفي سيرتيفيكتس بتبقى باسمهم هم شخصيا. فدي حاجات بتبقى شويه عايزه شركات ممكن تبقى صغيره بس تبقى فاينانشالي عندها الامكانيه انها تحط انفستمنتس، وده برضو الكلام اللي قاله يان، تحط انفستمنتس في انها تدخل في مجال البرايفت ليبل، لكن هو مجال متسع وبيكبر وبتدخل فيه شركات اكتر واكتر. فهو كان كل الكلام بيأكد الكلام اللي احنا قلناه قبل كده. ميرسي لحضرتك جدا يا مستر عمرو. ندخل كمان نتكلم مع دكتور محمد عبد العزيز. حضرتك بتصنع الايجيبشن لوفا، مش كده؟ الليفه المصريه بتاعتنا. فاحنا اتكلمنا عن الفود قد ايه هو مهم ان يبقى محتفظين بالكواليتي بتاعته وتبقى كواليتي عاليه. كمان عايزين نعرف في مجال الكوزماتكس ومجال البيرسونال كير بيبقى النظام عامل ايه معاكم. ممكن حضرتك تتكلم بالعربي كمان لو تحابب، وفي ترانسليتور هيبقى بيترانسليت لي يعني.
As you wish. As you wish. يعني first of all, it's my pleasure to talk among this webinar, and thank you for my invitation or inviting me to this webinar. You are always making webinars with an added value to the manufacturers or to the exporters. I'd like to talk about the PLMA or the Private Label Manufacturers Association and its value to the SMEs for supporting them with a great platform for exhibiting their products either in Netherlands, Amsterdam, or Chicago. for the American retailers for the duration of the exhibition itself. 1.5 day is not enough here, and I'd like to endorse the request of Mr. Hakel to increase the number of days, because at the end it's only 1 day. It's only 1 day, because at the second day all the visitors and the exhibitors begin to finish at the middle of the day at 12 o'clock. So if you make it about 2.5 days, it will be only 2 days to meet all the visitors. PLMA is a great show in order to share our products, to develop and to know more and more about the new trends in the markets. When we share our products, or when we see other exhibitors exhibiting in this show, we gain a lot. We gain a lot in terms of the quality aspects and the requirements of the markets and the global trends. Where is the market is going and what is the need of the market? This is a very good opportunity for all the people exhibiting in this show, or even visiting this show with the intention of exhibiting either the next year or maybe after years. For the manufacturers, I would like to endorse also Mr. Am about what he have said about the dedicated manufacturer. For the private label, people think that it's easier to produce private label than to produce their own brand. No, it's always hard, or it's always difficult to produce private label, because you have to meet many aspects for the retailers. You have to be always ready for an audit. You have to raise the product quality and the quality control and the trends all over the globe, either in the package itself or in the product. You have always to be ready to meet the requirements of the retailer itself and for the purchasers, always meeting in the quantities, in the qualities, and always being ready to tolerate the payment, because the payment plans of the big retailers is very difficult. So you have to be ready for that. You have to be ready for the quality. You have to be ready for being consistent and always giving them the good quality with an affordable price. Also, what Mr. Yan had talked about, that the consumer behavior is going towards the premium product. Yes, they are always going, or nowadays they are always going to the premium product rather than choosing the cheap one. Their behavior become more responsible for the products, choosing the product with a good impact for the environment, with a good impact for the surroundings itself, or being a sustainable product is much more trendy than choosing only the cheap product. This is what is happening right now in the market. And also many of the consumers right now choosing these products rather than choosing another products. For the manufacturer to take care about the trends, where is going all over the globe, taking care of the package itself. And also, Mrs. Rania, you had talked about the participation of the package industry. It's very important. It's very important to have package industry in the show, because it's all about integration with each other, or giving a final product with a good package to the consumer or to purchaser, and also to ease the decision, in order to take decision easily about good product with good package. That would help a lot for the decision making for the purchaser and for the retailer decision makers people. Thank you so much for participating, and I'm very happy to participate today. Thank you.
Very much دكتور محمد. خليني برضو أترجم بسرعة اللي حضرتك قلته. دكتور محمد كان بيتكلم mainly على إن طبعا
البرايفت ليبل هو مجال مفتوح جدا وجروينج زي ما كلنا كنا بنقول. كمان الباير نفسه بيبقى الاند يوزر نفسه، الكونسيومرز نفسهم بدات تبقى عندهم الترندز بتاعت السستينابيلتي، وبيدوروا على الحاجه اللي هي ما بتضرش بالبيئه وما بتضرش بصحتهم. فبدا برضو الديماند، يعني بيبقى فيه الكونسيومر بياكدوا برضو ان السوبر ماركتس او بقى عند حضرتك في اللي هم زي الصيدليات او كده، بيبقى برضو demanding جدا في الكواليتي اوف ذا برودكت، وبيحتاجوا ان هم يشوفوا برودكتس جديده ومتنوعه. يعني ده اللي حضرتك اتكلمت في ايدياز كتيره، فدي المين توبكس اللي اتكلمت فيها. خلينا نروح دلوقتي. Let's go to the questions if you please, Jan. We have a few people that are asking some questions, so let me like share with you what is relevant to our context. Mr. حسام التوبجي، حضرتك بتسأل عن الcertificates for the product, for food products. طبعا المجلس التصديري عنده information على السيرتيفيكتس، لانها كمان بتختلف من بلد لبلد، ومن يعني في حاجات بتبقى عامه وفي حاجات بتعتمد على البرودكت بتاع حضرتك، فدي برضو المجلس التصديري ممكن يساعد حضرتك فيها. Someone is asking, Mr. Ahmed Al-Saifi asking about the essential oils, aromatherapy. Do you have on the show or among your association members, do you have oil and essential oils and aromatherapy?
Yes, we do. You will not find hundreds of manufacturers like you find for shampoo, for instance, but we definitely have companies doing perfumes and oils and aromatherapy and all of those products. Yes.
موجودين الناس بتوع الessential oils برضو موجودين في الشو. Miss Dalia Zayed also is asking about. She says that most categories in private label are most into commodity, undifferentiated, but that's not the case that we see now. So my question is, where is the trend going from a retailer perspective in terms of category choices? Second, developing markets are traditional trade and modern trade non-savvy retailers. Can I send you this message of Ms. Dalia Zayed on your email so that you can reply to her? Would that be feasible? Or
that's not a problem. We can do that for all the messages, but just quickly answering to this one. PLMA does not advise retailers what to do. Retailers know very well what to do. They know their customers better than PLMA does. They know which stores sell what products and how many. They can even differentiate per country, per outlet, etc. So the ones that are driving private label are the retailers. The retailers do not need any advice from PLMA. What PLMA does is we bring the retailers and the manufacturers together, and we help them by, for instance, highlighting specific categories in order to make them think about that possibility. But the retailers are very much able to make their own decisions in that respect.
There is another question from Mr. Hussam Al-Tobgi. He says that he probably brings the raw materials from different countries, okay, and he is like filling them or packing them in Egypt in their premises. So at the end, he's a manufacturer.
Mm-hmm.
Would you see them as manufacturers, only packers like this?
Yeah, no, we would see them as manufacturers. We basically look at the final product. The best example, actually, is two examples from my early years in PLMA. There was one company that was making gift baskets, cosmetic gift baskets, and they basically had small versions of products that were made by other exhibitors in the show, and they put them in a basket and they wrapped it, and the basket, including all the products in it, was their product, and they were acceptable as an exhibitor, as a member. I also remember one company which would buy cheese in bulk, So to give you a very graphic image, 1 cubic meter of cheese, and this company would slice it up in small cubes, package it, and that would be their product. That's perfectly fine. And if I look at this question, you know, buying raw materials from other parts of the world, filling at their premises, and, you know, providing a ready-made product out of it, that's perfectly fine. A good example of these products are also nuts and dried fruits. You know, who makes them? Fish, meat, you know, who makes the fish? It's about who processes the fish, who processes the meat, and then packages it and supplies it to the retailer. So yes, that's perfectly okay.
There are also a couple of questions that concerns the payment terms and things like this. So I think, would this be relevant to our...
I wish I had an answer to that. It's the same question like the certificates. It's really specific from one country to the other. It's also specific from one retailer to the other. And my expectation is that the speakers we listened to before are in a better position to answer those questions than PLMA will be.
Okay, so again, a question from Mr. Alaa Aisawi. He was asking about the question of Mr. Mustafa Heikel. Mr. Heikel was asking, كان بيسأل إذا كان ممكن نطول عدد الأيام، لأن زي ما قلنا PLMA هو يومين 2 بس، فهو كان عايز يخليهم ل3 علشان يبقى في مجال اكتر ان هم يقابلوا ناس اكتر وما يبقوش مسرعين. نفس الكلام برضو اللي قاله دكتور محمد برضو اكد عليه، ويان كمان قال ان هو بيفكروا في الحته دي وبيدرسوها في PLMA ان هم يخلوها 3 days او 3 ايام بدل يومين. الحته بتاعت مستر حسام التوبجي 65% of consumers started. احنا زي ما بنقول في ترندز شغاله دلوقتي، ان او يعني الترندز اللي دلوقتي موجوده هو ان البايرز بيطلبوا او السوبر ماركتس بيطلبوا higher and higher quality، مش زي قبل كده كانت الدنيا الكواليتي ما كانتش مهمه قوي. how to participate in the shows بتبقى مع المجلس التصديري as well. tomato paste, juice, tetra pak, honey, halava, ghee, canned food if possible. الحاجات already, those are also tahini, natural ghee, and canned food. This is also on the, you will find it on the show. So there is also a possibility to participate in the PLMA.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm. A nutritional supplement, is it among the products that we sell on the event? Yes.
Yes.
There was also, let me share with you a photo from last year, because we didn't talk quickly, just very quickly. I want to talk about this new products, innovative products show. And there was one Egyptian company last year that was able to be among the winners. Can you please briefly tell us about it till I bring the photo here? The innovation, please, Jan.
Mm-hmm. Yes, let me wait for the picture though.
Okay, just a second.
Before I say all kinds of things that make no sense.
Okay, just a second. Oh my God, it's like I have, here it is, it's coming. Here it is.
Ah, okay, yes.
This in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
The Egyptian participants, they were making peanut butter.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Well, there's not much that I can say about that specific product because you know, I'm not part of the selection procedure. What I can tell in general is how our new product expo works, and basically assuming a trade show being held in May, in January we start contacting all our exhibitors and ask them to submit their new products. And new can be new in many ways. It can be a totally new product. It can be a new packaging. It can be new ingredients. There are many ways in which a product can be new. It can be new to a specific market. It can be new to private label. It already existed as an A brand, but it wasn't present as a private label before. So then initially we ask our exhibitors to submit pictures and submit specifications and indicate what is new about the product. And then we have our new product expo selection committee, and they go through all the submissions and they make a first selection based on what is submitted to us online. And then all of the companies and the products that make it through the first selection are asked to submit the real product. So from that moment on, we start receiving boxes and boxes and boxes with products. And then those products are checked in a second selection procedure. And then eventually those products that are considered to be new enough in any of the aspects, you know, in this specific one was for the category new scents, flavors, recipes, and product composition. Those are then displayed at the trade show at a separate central location. I'm going to say from the top of my head that every year we have about 600 products displayed there with a short name tag of the exhibitor that makes it the name of the product and the booth number that they are at. And this is always a spot that attracts a lot of retailers. Many retailers start their visit to the show there. They first go to New Product Expo to see what's new. And then based on what they find and what they consider interesting, they continue their tour of the show floor.
Thank you Jan for explaining this. Let me also translate this. هو كل سنة عندهم مكان واسع قوي كده في الشو. بيبقى بيختاروا فيه البرودكتس الجديدة في الباكجينج بتاعها، في الطعم بتاعها، في الكومبوزيشن محطوط ايه على ايه. السنة اللي فاتت جرين فالي قدمت البينات باتر ده، وهم لقيوا فيه طعم مختلف، فليفر مختلف او ريسيبي مختلفة، وكانوا اختاروه يبقى من ضمن البرودكتس اللي محطوطه في المكان ده. المكان ده بيحط بالظبط زي ما حضراتكم شايفين، يعني هنا في 3 برودكتس موجودين، كل واحد باسم الشركه وبالهول بتاعتها، والناس كلها لما بتروحوا الهول دي بتبصوا عليها، هي بتبقى للفود وللنون فود، بيبصوا if they find something interesting، لو لقيوا حاجه مفيده او بتجراب their attention بيحطوها في الليست بتاعه الفيزيتس اللي هم عايزين يروحوها، وبيروحوا يتكلموا مع الشركات. فدي بتعمل اكسبوجر حلو قوي، واللي عنده اي حاجه فيها يعني طريقه جديده في استخدام برودكت معين او باكجينج معين او يخليها مور كونفينينت او كده، بيقدم للبي ال ام اي، ولو لقيوها فعلا جديده بيبتدوا يديسبلاي في النيو برودكت شو. بيبقى مكان مهم قوي، كل الفيزيتورز تقريبا بتبتدي الشو بيه. I think we're done with our questions now. There might be a final question. I know that we have exceeded the hour, but it was an interesting session anyway. Is it possible the same manufacturer to produce both private label and the brand? Yes, indeed, it's possible. And please allow me to answer this question. Indeed, it's possible, and this is how it's going usually. After all, I would like to thank you, Jan, and thank all the participants. بشكركم كلكم إن أنتوا استمريتوا معانا لغاية دلوقتي. مي من فضلك برضو تختملنا الميتينج بتاعنا if possible. مي.
Sorry, we have a problem with the net. Thank you, Rania. For us, it's fine. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, May. Thank you, Jan. Thank you, Dr. Mohammed and Mr. Amr. And thank you for everybody who participated. I hope it was a beneficial and eye-opener for a lot of people. And let's hope for the best for the show and for also all the manufacturers from Egypt. Let's hope for the growth of your exports more and more. Thank you very much. Thank you, Jan. Thank you,
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you for allowing us to do this. Thank you very much.